Trong một làm gì với CICD không?
Có integrate cái auto vào.
Okay. Okay, so let me update our status. Robert has done a CI/CD and he integrating testing from Cradle to CI/CD
Azure.
and to Azure server.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yesterday Jim and I draw the document for NIC for handover NIC project. So I will done it by today. And Jimmy investigated investigating a Cheeto, and he is install and run a Cheeto in his machines. But we need a Cheeto account. Can you give it after meeting?
Okay, the one I need to ask first.
Yes, so that is forward. And if you have any question, please.
Okay, not for me. But still back to the question. Kairu, the logging how?
Yeah, later I'm finishing up.
Okay.
Sorry, man.
Eh,
Jumping around between projects.
yeah. Okay. So we go through the next development for API.
Yes.
Mm. Okay,
Kairu,
maybe I give I give
brief.
a high-level understanding on the bit of background on what's going to happen next. So NX API is already up and running. All right. So
Yeah.
what's next is going to be used beyond this country CRM. Okay, so it's going to be accessible through the public requests, not just for HIP, but for a lot of other resources that's needed. All right. So the next integration will be e-commerce. So e-commerce requires a lot of transactional requests coming in and going out, a lot more higher volume because it's B2C. And a lot more important to have security in place. All right. Including version control, because this next deployment, right, will be used by third-party systems. It won't be used by the country CRM. Country CRM is still internal. We can still control. All right. HIP request country CRM request brand, the NX API. But the next project coming in will be the e-commerce. So the e-commerce will be built by either us or third-party systems. And then if there's any change or tweaks made to existing APIs that we pass to them, it's going to be difficult for them to make changes. Right. So we need to really have version control and make sure our first release is stable for future release. Okay, so the next e-commerce project will be a test project on our API design. Okay, so this next project will be Lancome Indonesia. Let me share screen. I'm not sure if Trung team you have access to this folder. If not, I can send you the files, or Eugene can send you the files. Okay, so inside here will be the Lancome ID, e-commerce, and CRM integration. So they already have an existing website. Okay, so it's the existing website for Indonesia.
Yep.
What they want to do is integrate the customer database, transactions with the CRM. Secondly, they want to have a members portal. So let's look at this file. Okay. So what system is this? This is running on WooCommerce. So you guys familiar with WooCommerce? Commerce? Here before? True team, you hear before WooCommerce?
No, we didn't, not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Yeah.
You can Google. So there's woocommerce.com, which is something like Shopify. It's a subscription service. So you can create a new store. You can create account, upload stuff. Okay. Same as Shopify. Another one is WooCommerce plugin, which is a free plugin that runs on WordPress. Okay, WooCommerce is open source. Okay, WooCommerce.com is a paid service. So if you are lazy to install this on your own, you can always create an account here and start selling immediately. Right? If you have your own development team and you have your own WordPress installation, okay, WordPress, you heard before, right? WordPress. So you have WordPress installed on your server, and then you install the WooCommerce plugin, and then you will have WooCommerce running on your own server. Right? If the customer is not technically savvy, they will just create a WooCommerce.com account, and then it's a subscription service. Okay, so there's two main differences. So the main difference for this environment, right, is it's running on WordPress open source with WooCommerce plugin. Okay, so this is the first environment you're going to be running it. So understanding WordPress is important, but end of the day, the APIs will be standardized across all platforms. So it doesn't matter if you're using WordPress, WooCommerce, Shopify, BigCommerce, whatever nonsense platform you use. All right. So end of the day, the API should be platform agnostic. All right. So example, you want to track transactions. So there's an API for transactions. There's an API for customers. There's an API endpoint for orders, etc. Okay. So what they want to track here is to track the transaction and the sales that's happening on e-commerce and send it over to the CRM. Okay, that's one part. So the other part will be account credentials. So they also want account credentials to link up with the CRM. So the CRM controls the account username and password. Okay, so it's either using username or it's using phone number. It depends on what is being deployed for the CRM. Okay. So an example would be lancome.com.my. So this is using mobile number. This is already linked up with our CRM using coordinator. So they use and phone number. Okay, so they go to my account. Require again. Okay, so this is for Malaysia. For Indonesia, it will just be email. So depending on what's the brand that's using it, right? The credentials will use the respective API to log in and ticket. Okay, so our first deployment will be Lancome ID, which will just be using email and password. so not so complicated. Okay. So log in the email password. Currently, how it works is it's a pop-up, it's a model pop-up. Okay, log in. Once log in, it will inherit the design from Malaysia. Right, so we want to use a bit of Malaysia design. They want a bit of facelift on the front end, but end of the day, these details should all go to CRM, billing, checkout, transaction details. Okay. Secondly, they also want a members portal. So this is taken from Malaysia website. Okay, so you can see they have rewards, points, all this retrieved from the CRM, expiry, stuff like that. So all this needs to be synchronized between the two systems. Okay, blah blah blah, full integration, guest checkout, members portal, etc. Okay, so this is Malaysia's integration. So if you look at the existing deployments, there's Malaysia deployment and Singapore deployment. They are using Code Igniter. So their APIs are not very nice to use, right? Because it's not really standardized. Each group of API sets are different from here. Okay, what we want to achieve is to have a unified API, so that is one API that all country brands will be able to use. All right. Okay, it's something like the brand API. Previously, brand API is different across all brands. So we built next API to bridge and unify. So what we're gonna do is something like that, but for e-commerce. So far, okay?
Yes, okay.
Yeah. So if you look at Malaysia endpoints, they already defined. So Malaysia last time they were using NRIC. Right now they are using mobile number. Malaysia mobile number. Where is it? This one, mobile number. So they made changes to it. So they can log in, update profile, all the endpoints are here. Okay, so you notice the endpoints are using the same convention. All right, URL parameter. So what we want to do is we want to make this a global pattern, meaning there'll be a version number, and then maybe there's a identifier or resource, something like that, to identify different e-commerce or consumers who are going to use this endpoint. Okay, so this requires us to create a Swagger file that will be able to unify all this as well. So I know you guys already got a Swagger file, so we need to add in all these features inside, and then we can review how it's going to work. Okay, so for now, high level is understanding that the future integration systems are e-commerce. So e-commerce will require profile update, rewards, redemption, member profile, and then you also have addresses for checkout address, shipping address, billing address, and then there's also transactions when they check out. So transaction may be a guest checkout. So how do you handle guest checkout? How do you handle orders? And then each order have order items. Then when they check out, they have coupon codes. So you need to track discounts and promotions. Okay, so if they have refunds, so how are you going to handle refunds? So there's a remove transaction order and stuff like that. Okay, so I recommend you guys look through this, and then we create a Swagger file to unify all this into our NX API. Okay, but first things first, we need to break it apart into resources. So example, transactions. Right, different collections of resources. So got transactions, got customer. I know HIP already have, but the naming convention we can standardize on our end. Okay, because it should be platform agnostic, meaning it doesn't rely on any platform. It is our own definition. So this is our definition of a client. This is our definition of a transaction. All right. We don't follow the party system's way of defining what is a transaction and what is an order. We decide on our side. And then from there, we will map it to the respective CRM systems or whatever backend systems we need to integrate with. Okay, so this one, I think, Jin, you need to help them on this.
Okay, so meaning we have to redesign based on this or this API.
Not redesign, extend. So right now, we already have the API documentation, right? Right. Do we have the latest one? Is it updated?
The brand API.
Correct.
Yeah, the Swagger version.
Okay. So that one is updated, and the convention is. You want to share screen? Maybe on your end you show how the current state. Sorry, man, I pressed the wrong button. Man.
This,
Yes.
yeah, this is the
So over here,
current.
okay. So orders recycle app. So is it possible that the e-commerce use this?
Mm, previously, I understand from Wayne that they already discussed for Lancome SG is leveraging on this, but
Mhm.
an enhancement on this API. So are we following that?
Yes, we are going to extend this. We're not going to rewrite a new thing, but maybe we're going to clean things up. Lah. So maybe we standardize across all endpoints. We'll have a version number, right? And then we need to rewrite this document. This document, is it shared account?
No, this document is generated from the NX project itself.
Oh,
The
this
code.
one is the you write the code, then you generate.
Ah.
Okay.
So the current for 1.1, right? What I asked Chung to do is the format is brand API, then slash v1.1 slash then the API name. So I think do we need to change the format?
I'm thinking of using a load balancer for this. Let
Look,
me see. You used a PG before?
no, not for me.
But this is a paid feature, man. So many paid features. Okay, let me see. Is there a simple diagram? Let me see.
Phải leo nào.
Mình tự tạo cái này. Đang cô là 30 một mặt. Cái này mình muốn giờ phải cái này thì gặp ở đây. Thế nhưng mà đã nói gì về cái JWT chưa?
Okay, so right now Let me see. Let me think. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna improve upon this, right? So right now the version is inside the URL, which is fine. We need to standardize across all the endpoints. Okay. But the real question will be, is this enough for e-commerce? Are these endpoints enough for e-commerce?
Okay, I need to get the list from Wayne because I remember you already have they had a discussion before already. So Lily actually was working on it in the brand level. So I think he told me that halfway then dropped. So yeah, so I don't know lah. So if they already have like they already know what are the changes, what are the new API or any changes to the existing API already, then we can make use of it already. Because I remember they already discussed with Zach and Tim.
Yeah, because all the files are inside this file. I asked Zach to upload here, the API list.
Yeah, I will check
But
with
Zach,
Wayne.
but Zach only know. Let me find if there's any file here.
Muốn chuẩn cái muốn chuẩn hóa cái tên của đảng này cho nó tích hợp cái đảng
Okay, maybe I share this one.
e-commerce.
Okay, so this is for Simple Malaysia. What Zach did with Win is defining the services and then whether it exists on which e-commerce, whether it's a member portal feature or an e-commerce feature. Okay, so this is what he did with Wayne. So I think it is this list, I think. So over here, which page requires which API. Right over here, this is based on the old design, based on the old APIs. So I'm not sure if there's new APIs or new updates to it. But this is based on the previous discussion. So this is, how do I close this? Oh. This is the Singapore one. Here, Singapore, the PowerPoint. Okay, but this is as far as the discussion went lah. Yeah. So maybe we can take this out, ask Wayne again. Maybe got changes to all this.
Yeah, because he might have the backend API, the more technical part. I check with him first. Like if don't have, then have to relook.
Okay.
Okay, so
Maybe, yeah. One more thing is, can we create a Swagger account? Yeah, all share the
okay,
same account lah.
then export this to there. Is it?
Yeah, everything there. So inside Swagger, right? This is my own account. I can't invite anymore. I think the free trial ended or something. So maybe you can all create one account, then we all log in, and then inside here can have all the different projects. Easier to keep track. Okay. This is an example. So this one you can see different versions. You can keep track of change logs, compare the versions. Right. And you can define what authentication we want to use. So in this project example, we store customer session in the header. This is the label, and we use basic authentication, stuff like that. Yeah. Then if there's changes, we just version out, version. A lot faster. Okay. Can.
Okay, but so just now you were saying there are different, but for us there's only one API.
This
So
okay, this document, right? Yes, so there'll be a lot, but this document that you guys will be mostly using will be the NX API. And inside will also be the country APIs if you want to keep track. It will also be the brand APIs if you want to keep track. Yeah, it's just a place to store all the APIs.
okay, so for this project we are enhancing the existing brand API, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, so then the question is the authentication part,
Mm,
because currently is the authentication, the password is passed in the payload, and then there's a so-called hard code query checking per API. So for this that we were exposing to public, you were saying we need to use the token, right?
yeah.
So the Chung, I have question is that let's we are how do we separate the same API but different authentication method?
That's why I was thinking we create a separate app, but Marcus say want to keep to the same app. So
Or
because
do
what
we
I'm
like do
thinking,
a 1.2, 2.0?
we can also let me think because what I'm thinking originally is
Yep.
we can use open authentication, right? A separate app, open authentication, and then if the existing NX API wants to talk to that new middleware, right? Let's say the middleware is called version 2 lah. So this version 2 will have open authentication. So if brand API need to talk, you'll talk through a token that is issued by the new app, version 2 app. And then if the e-commerce wants to talk, you will have a token to talk to the version 2 app, same thing. And every single person who wants to talk need to issue a token.
That's if we change the country lah to use the new authentication method.
Or not necessary. If if we can somehow merge the behavior, then we don't need to, right? For example, okay, let's say HIP right now sending query through the whole way, right? So that one is through the country level. So what if we have this new version 2 that can handle all the country level stuff and then pass it over to the country CRM? You know what I mean? It's like translate the new convention to the old convention.
So another layer before NX.
For all systems.
Okay.
All systems. The new systems will be more direct to the brand level stuff. I mean,
Yeah, but would there be performance issue?
because it won't be going through country CRM already.
But as in the existing country API will have performance because one more layer need to go through.
Uh, one more layer. I mean, it's either through the version 2 or through the brand API.
Oh, so let's say that means if the existing one will leave it that is, so we are building version 2.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. So we learn from version 1 and then we create version 2. Whatever we can rescue from version 1, we can copy over. All right. And then the consumer facing side, right? A lot more secure, a lot more structured. Because this part will be facing public.
Okay.
Okay. Any feedback?
Okay, Chung, you guys understand?
Okay, we understand.
Okay. Any questions or confused?
Um, Not for now. I just want to ask what is high priority task because uh, we had to investigate the Chino and now e-commerce.
E-commerce is next. E-commerce is next. So for now, priority is the handover. So we hand over the version 1.
Yeah.
But how about the Twido?
Twilio.
The
Oh,
SMS,
you need
yeah.
it now, is it?
I don't have the date, but my understanding is should be now because once the problem is when the SG CRM now cannot migrate to GN because of the SMS gateway. So I think they are replacing this for SMS gateway so that uh, no issue. I can check with Marcus if there's any so-called deadline. But I remember YSLSG is not supposed to migrate this month.
YSL YSL, they're not.
Yeah, because
Can I?
YSLSG is the next integration to NX also. I check with Marcus or we check with Marcus the dates.
Can I? So I guess the priority will be handover, followed by SMS, and then
Then
version 2.
okay.
Okay.
Okay. So just to give a bit of background for TrueSight, so version 2 will be a different app. Okay. You have its own open authentication library of tokens to secure all the consumers of the API. Okay.
Okay.
So far okay or not?
So which means this database, right, for token.
It's easier if we have a database. Yeah. Okay.
Như là thế này đúng không? Thế thế này, cái lựa rồi tất cả mọi.
Okay. So for now, the priority is handover and SMS, and then if there's any changes to the version 2, I update you guys.
Okay.
Okay.
Cái gì đó? Một.
Đây chung cho đông Nam Á.
Trung, okay?
Yes, okay.
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 Okay, Ken.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.